After serving our country in the Army, Joy was destitute and forced to send her 2 kids to different relatives while she slept in her car. She would pick them up every morning for school and then go look for work. On the way to school one morning, she was stopped by a Louisiana state trooper who realized she was living in her car. He contacted us, and we immediately gave Joy and her children their own room. In 2007, my husband and I saw the plight of homeless women and children. In these past 7 years, we have gone from a makeshift shelter to become the largest facility for homeless women and children in New Orleans. We are not a domestic violence shelter, but a safe haven for more than 700 women and children, and have been able to help them escape the streets and restart their lives. In the past 2 years, homelessness in women and children has risen 66% locally. Why? Low wages, high rent, and the cost of childcare. More than half of our women have never been homeless before. In the past few months, 2 families found at bus stops were brought to us. Just last Thursday, we took in a mother and 5 children who were discovered sleeping in Armstrong Park. And if you remember, that was the cold night. Ladies, that's simply unacceptable. Families stay with us as long as is needed, pay us nothing, but are required to start a savings account that we will match when they leave at 25%. We provide case management, educational assistance, and an employment program. Over the last 3 years, 88% of our families have moved into their own home. Our goal this year was to serve 105 moms with kids. By the end of September, we served 125. On a typical night, we have 15 women and 25 children in residence. 60% of those we shelter are children. 60% are children. There is no other facility or program in the city that does what we do. With your $100,000, here's the impact. For $50,000, we can get an additional 25 women and children off the streets over the next 2 years. We will use the other $50,000 to expand our current follow-through program to ensure families succeed in their independent life to never return to homelessness. Your funding will cover half of these costs, and we are committed to match your grant to bring your total gift to $200,000. Joy, the veteran found by the state trooper, will be in her own home for Thanksgiving and now has a good job. As women and mothers, I invite you to join me in our work of love to find ways to help this most vulnerable segment of our community move into the productive, self-sufficient lives they all deserve. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Any questions?
Do you help the women find job placement? I mean, do you help with job placement? Is that one of the services that you offer?
Yes. What we do is when a woman will come in, we start by giving her life skills and helping her write a resume. And then we guide her in the direction that she would like to go and help her find a very suitable job for herself. Our fundraising efforts. We have been incredibly lucky and blessed since our inception 7 years ago with matching grants. And so far, every matching grant that people have given us, we've been able to go out into the community and match that. Everybody wants to see their money 2 for 1.
What about the children? Do you provide any services for them?
The children are the most amazing part for me and I think our staff. When they come in, they're so traumatized by what they've gone through that the first thing we do is stabilize the children. We get them into daycare or we get them into the schools because several of the kids have not gone to school in a while because of being homeless. We offer all kinds of arts programs, reading programs, and our hope in the next year is to start a tutoring program in-house. Come on, you've got questions. We have just moved. We moved in February to Central City. We're on South Liberty Street, and we have this incredible building that when we moved in housed 40 women and children, but our incredible staff and director have now pushed it to, I think, 47 as of today. And hopefully by the end of the year when we have 2 babies born, not hopefully, by the end of the year when 2 babies are born, we'll be at 50.
What inspired you to start the program?
After Hurricane Katrina, my husband and I were one of the lucky ones that didn't lose a building, we didn't lose a home. And I realized that it was my responsibility, as many of you have, that we needed to branch out of ourselves and do something to help our incredible city come back. And I was given an opportunity in the upper 9th Ward to help a house out that was taking in women and children off the street. And when I did that, it just sort of grew. I will tell you that it was always my dream to have a bed and breakfast with my husband. And this has become my bed and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But that really is what inspired me, because I never knew anything about homelessness, and certainly not homelessness in my own backyard. And this has been life-changing for my husband and myself. It has been a work of love. We became our own nonprofit in 2007 with no money. We do. We have been incredibly blessed over the years to have so many volunteers that come and do so many things. Our staff is 8 full-time people, including a case manager and our employment coordinator. And then we have another 11 that are resident coordinators, because we have staff there 24 hours a day. So our residential coordinators work shifts. There are, I believe, 3 shifts during each day.
Talk a little bit about what the women's requirements are when they're in the shelter.
Well, because we don't charge them, we felt very strongly, I felt very strongly in the beginning, we wanted to make this a home. That the model was based on what I would want for myself and my children if we were ever homeless. And so we decided that instead of charging women for nightly stays, which is what tends to go on with homeless shelters, that we wanted very much for them to take roles in the house. So everybody in the old house had a night of cooking for the entire group, and everybody has chores. And it's very important that they use the house as their home. They don't have to take their stuff and leave. This is their home, and so they have to take that responsibility.
You mentioned that you're not a domestic violence shelter, but do you take women in that are homeless as a result of domestic violence?
We do have several women that have come and stayed with us, a lot of which have had violence, sometimes in childhood. But one we've taken in recently that came directly from a domestic violence situation out of town. Those we can take. It's really time and distance from their abuser. If they can prove that there is time and distance, we love to take them. Thank you all so much. What you do is incredible.